But when I conducted the interview for them, they always mention they still confused regarding their experience because of their status here in Indonesia. Based on the Indonesia regulation, refugees are not allowed to work. And also, this is kind of the new hope for you guys related to the resettlement process. Okay, all right. Well, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me in this podcast. So since this is your first podcast, so hopefully this is gonna be a good podcast, and also for the next episode later in the future. So my name is Suchi. I work in CRS as a labor mobility officer. So actually, this labor mobility program, it is kind of one of the complementary pathway uh, uh, made by UNSCR based on one of the project, I mean like one of the durable solution for refugees here in Indonesia. So we will talk later regarding the labor mobility itself, but I work in CRS since 2018 actually. So this is the first humanitarian sector, I mean like in humanitarian sector that I work with the refugee community, because before I worked with the health background, from the health background, and then I changed, become the social worker and focus in humanitarian sector, specifically in the refugee context, and the refugees issue here in Indonesia. So at the first time that I joined in CRS, I work as a socio-economic, like we are focusing, conducted the assessment interview for the vulnerabilities refugees here in Jakarta area, that who are needed the financial assistance from UNHCR. And then in 2020, yeah, in 2020, the position is open for the labor mobility, and then I apply, and here I am until right now.
That's really awesome, impressive. Thank you so much. So, if you don't mind, can we get into the questions?
Just sure.
Yeah, thank you. So, can you tell us about your experiences collaborating with Talent Beyond Boundaries? How is the organization and how you're feeling when you get into there, and what was the achievements that you have ever done by this?
Yeah, as I already mentioned at the beginning, so I start my career in the humanitarian sector in CRS. So my first project related to the refugees issue is socio-economic. So at the beginning, Dalam Beyond Boundaries comes to Indonesia, connect with UNHCR directly. So they don't come to CRS to invite CRS to do the collaboration as their partner, but they directly goes to UNHCR and then introduce regarding the talent beyond boundaries. And UNHCR, I mean like CRS, one of the direct implementing partner of UNHCR, and UNHCR choose CRS to take the lead of this program. So this is the first time that CRS involved related to the labor mobilities here in Indonesia. So how is the organization? So organization is one of the first pioneer organization who are introduced to all of the refugees around the world regarding the skill visa. So if you can see that TBB not only working with one specific countries, but we also do the collaboration with another countries such as like Australia, Canada, and UK. Even though in this near time, we also receive some job opportunity from US and from New Zealand, and also another resettlement countries in Europe country. But this is still not regularly. But the main country program still three, like Australia, Canada, and UK.
So, is this countries voluntarily accept refugees or any other peoples, or it's just only for the refugees, or it's for every migrants who are the people
Uh,
whoever needs to apply for that? Yeah,
Actually,
please.
when we talk about the talent beyond boundaries not only focusing for refugees who register under the UNHCR protection, but they also accept those are displaced people. So displaced people means like you are came from the war countries like Syria, Pakistan, Iran and the other countries, and you already run away from your original country and you couldn't come back again to your original country because of the situation, because of the conflict happen in your countries. But you still holding your passport and you still have your active visa. So we call this is like a displaced people. So those are displaced people also can apply to the Telanbion boundaries. But if we talk about CRS, because CRS work as direct implementing partner of UNHCR, so we only process those under the UNHCR protection. So definitely refugees, asylum seeker here in Indonesia.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you so much. So, if you don't mind, can you give us a small introduction about CRS? What is CRS and how it works? Like, what is the role of there in Indonesia?
All right. So when we are talking about the CRS, CRS stands of the Catholic Relief Services. So actually, our central office in Baltimore and our regional office in Cambodia. So CRS represent here in Indonesia as a fact-based organization that we are focusing regarding the emergency response and also DRR, climate change, and a few programs here in Indonesia. And one of the program that we work related to the humanitarian sector is the refugees issues. So the refugees issue handling with one program that we call ESEA. So ESEA is education, socio-economic activities. So this is under of one program. So labor mobility is under the ESEA program.
Okay, thank you so much. So, what is the purpose of the program? What is the purpose of these programs that currently CRS is holding in their hands? What are the purposes that they do?
So the purpose that we do with the SAR program, if we talk about the SAR, so definitely we only focus on the refugee issues because we do the collaboration. I mean, like we are as the direct implementing partner of UNHCR. So we work directly to the refugees community here in Indonesia. So SAR itself only focusing on the Jakarta area, like Jakarta, Bogor, Tangerang, and the surrounding area. We call the Jabodetabek. So this is just only in this small area. But when we are talk about the labor mobility, we couldn't decide it only few cities because this program is for all of the refugees here in Indonesia. So when we talk about the labor mobility, definitely this is all the refugees from Batam, Tanjung Pinang, all the cities here in Indonesia. But if with the specific program, like we have education program, we also have the socio-economic program, protection, gender and protection. So this program only for the Jabodetabek area.
Okay, thank you. So, can you give us a small introduction or explanation about labor mobility pathways? How we can do that?
Yeah, the labor mobility pathway at the first time announced by UNHCR in November 2021. So this is the first time that the refugee knows regarding the new program from UNHCR in the town hall meeting. So at that time, we introduced the program through the online because if you still remember in 2021, still during the pandemic situation, and UNHCR introduced in the town hall meeting online. And we introduced it regarding the labor mobility together with the Thailand Beyond Boundaries representative from Australia. So we announced the program. We announced how to register in our in the talent catalog in the TBB website. At that time, close to 500 refugees are registered directly to the website. But after they register, there is no any follow-up action, either from CRS, from the Chilean Beyond Boundaries at that time. So there is a reason behind why there is no any follow-up action after the refugee register in 2000, November 2021, because at the time we are not in charge one specific officer who is responsible regarding this program. And also this is kind of the new program. And the one who introduced regarding this program, so she's resigned and we have to do the hiatus until we decided the new officer. So when we talk actually when this is starting. So I can say that we start this program in July 2022. So we introduced the program November 2021, but we start in July 2022. So in July, we start with online outreach. We introduce with our RR community in Jakarta, and also we do the information that we call the offline outreach. So we conducted online and offline outreach. So we disseminate all of the information and also the update regarding the labor mobility. But since it's quite left because communities already state that this is a fake project or this is just only another issues that UNSC are bringing to us to read them, I mean, like to just make refugees quiet regarding the resettlement issues at that time. But after we prove it, the program is true, and there is a few people are resettled through this program, and many people are believed with the labor mobility right now.
Okay, thank you. So I want to ask you that how can the refugees apply for labor mobility pathways? Are there any eligible requirements, or is there any important stuff? I mean, like especially documents or CVs that we have to submit it if you want to apply for the labor mobility pathways to get an opportunity or chance?
Yeah, how the refugee can apply to this program? So refugee simply can click in the website through the link. So I can share regarding the link. So the refugees simply they can just click the link and register themselves. Once they register themselves, there is a step that they have to follow. So this is very simple, and I think the explanation is quite clear regarding for each step. So they just need to follow and fill all of the question that we ask regarding the registration step. And once they register in the website, and then we will receive the notification, or we will show that the refugees already registered in our website. And we will look how is the refugees are eligible related to the requirement or related to the current job opportunity that we have. So if you are asking, is there any eligibility requirement? So the one and the most eligibility requirement that the refugee need to register in our program in our website, a refugee must speak English. So this is one of the important requirements. So if you couldn't speak English, so definitely we will consider you as not a potential candidate. So we will skip those refugees. So this is the first requirement. And also the second requirement that we will consider is about the work experience. Uh, this is something that I really want to clarify, especially for refugees in Makassar, because I received a lot of requests for the interview that you already reach a company in Australia or company in the other countries, and then we receive the notification that we have to do the interview for those refugees. But when I conducted the interview for them, they always mention they still confused regarding their experience because of their status here in Indonesia. Based on the Indonesia regulation, refugees are not allowed to work. What I always mention to the refugees here in Indonesia, so we know based on the Indonesia regulation, refugees are not allowed to work. So this is very clear statement. So that's why organization always mention that things that you are did right now as interpreter or as a community leader or work with the local people, that you call this as voluntary. Always you mention this is like voluntary job. But this is just only a label as a voluntary, only the label that you mentioned, I'm working as a voluntary. But behind, you still receive the allowance. Either this is a big money or it is just only a small money, or maybe like you always say, like Thanksgiving money. As long as you receive the money, when I conducted the interview, then I'm asked to you, did you receive the money? So when you say yes, so means you are not voluntary. So you are work as
Oh,
officially. So you have
okay.
to you have to approve it that you mentioned that you have to prove it while you say that you will receive the money and you are work not as a voluntary. So this is the good thing for your CV. Because if you keep insisting saying that we are volunteer and we only receive, we didn't receive the money and we just only receive the food from the owner or food from the company. So this is something that I couldn't change in the interview. So definitely I will mention that you will work as a voluntary. But when you work as a voluntary, we will not count it as official experience. So if you would like us to consider you as official experience or official work, so when we ask regarding the work and you mention that you receive the money, means this is not voluntary. During my interview, during that you receive the interview by CRS and you know that you receive the money, so you have to say to us, we are work here and we receive the money. So this is the first thing. But if you truly didn't receive the money, so you can say to us that we are work as a voluntary because there is a few activities that the IOM did for you guys as a community leader. There is no any allowance that the IOM given to you. It is just only helping refugees, helping your communities and your accommodation. So you can say this is voluntary. But if you would like us to consider as experience, so you have to say this is not voluntary. But to other people, to the immigration or maybe to the IOM, so of course your name is a voluntary. But when it's come to
Yeah.
the experience, so this is not voluntary. But if you keep insisting, so
Okay.
definitely I will make it as a report is voluntary.
Okay. If you don't mind, I just want to clarify on that is that, for example, if we get even a small money, it doesn't matter, like even 1,000 rupiah or anything, but still, if you get a money, it means like you're official. It means like it's a good thing for refugees, right? So they can
Yeah.
tell in the interview or applying sessions that we have worked. So we have worked and we receive this much of money or something. Am I right?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem is not how much the money that you receive, but the problem is you receive or you don't receive the money. So once you
Okay.
receive the money, so it means this is official work.
Okay. So it means like we can say that okay, we have work experience, right?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
absolutely.
So
So this is
yes,
the
thank
second
you. So
requirement. And the third requirement, so definitely um, the total hours working, like it should be 30 hours per week. So when you mention
okay.
this is like a part-time, so when you try to fill the registration, there is an option part-time and also full-time. So part-time means this is less than 30 hours the total work, it is less than 30 hours per week. So full-time, this is more than 30 hours per week. So once you consider your work as a part-time or full-time, you have to consider how much the total hours that you have.
Okay.
So when we talk about the official worker as officially, so definitely this is the minimum hours. It should be 30 hours per week. It should be. But if it is
Officially.
less than 30 hours, it is still fine. So we'll still count it as a part-time. But if you are applying for the highest position as a consultant, as a bookkeeper, as a engineer, as a software engineer, and you mentions that you work as a part-time, definitely this is not required. I mean, like your experience is not required with that kind of a position. But if you mentions that you work as a welder, you work as a construction labor, tiling, plastering, so things that only based on the project, based on the request. So definitely there is a big possibility that you work as a part-time because it is not continuously every day, right? So you have to think what kind of experience, you have to consider what kind of experience and which experience that you have to put as a part-time and also as a full-time.
Thank you. That's really a wonderful explanation. We really appreciate that. So the next question is that what are the documents the refugees should be prepared by themselves for applying to this program? Can you hear
Um,
me?
yeah. Regarding the document, there is no any specific specific document or the specific required document that you have to upload because uh, the company who are dealing to hiring refugees, they already knows that the refugee has a lot of limitation regarding the legal document, specifically regarding the legal document like education certificate or regarding the proofment work, like a letter of proofment from your previous company or related to specific skill that needed as a the experience. Um, so definitely this is sometimes the refugee have it and most of the refugee don't have it. The reason because of maybe the experience or the certificate that they have from the previous country. But if the refugee have the experience here in Indonesia, they create the new experience, they create the new skill, or they improve their skill during their staying here in Indonesia. So definitely this is will help them. But there is no any specific document that they have to upload as long as they can convince us, they can convince your us, the one who interviewed them, related to their experience. This is the first one. And second, at least you have the proven photo, especially if you work here in Indonesia. I receive a lot of requirement from refugees in Makassar these new days regarding from the autonomous case, and most of their experience, they have the experience here in Indonesia as a tiling, as a plastering, work with the construction labor. But they didn't show to me that the proven photo. When I asked regarding the proven photo, that they said we don't have it. So how could I believe that you work here in Indonesia but you don't have any proven photos? So this is quite hard for me to believe related to your experience. Or they also mentions that they have the experience as a barber. So they open the barber and the accommodation and they receive the customer from the local people and also from the refugee under the IOM accommodation. But there is no any proven photo related to that one. So it is also quite hard for me. If you mention your experience in your previous country, it still makes sense. But if you mention in the website that your current experience here in Indonesia, and there is no any proven related your work experience. So how
I
that
got
we
that.
can believe it is true?
So I just want to clarify that on this. So for applying this, we don't need any documents at all. But if you have a documents, that's a really good thing. But if you have any work experience in Indonesia, we have to have at least some evidence to convince CRS, or you guys have to convince other countries that okay, they have experiences on this. So we need to have photos or at least like some certificates or some of the ways that we can prove that okay, we have done this, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you. So another question: what type of skills that are really needed for refugees to have to apply for this program? So what are the top skills? Like like if you apply for this, that we will, especially into the labor mobility pathway, we can easily get access and we can get a opportunity to go out from Indonesia. Can you clarify
Okay,
that? Thanks.
so when we are talking about the skill, actually any kind of skill. So whatever the skill that you have, so definitely the opportunity is there. But the problem right now, we have two pathways. So first, the regular pathway, and the second, the autonomous pathway. So when we are talking about the regular pathway, so there's specific top skill that mostly is always there. First one, it is related with the software engineer. So software engineer, including the back end, front end, full stack engineer, IT system, cyber security. This is all the things related to the software engineer. So this is a top skill. And the second one's regarding the related to the nursing. So this is like personal social worker. So the personal social worker that we familiar with the name of caregiver. So like you are
Very good.
caregiver of someone in your accommodations, like maybe there is your roommate having the mental issues and they needed your help to carry them for the medicines, to carry them for their daily needs, to carry them to the hospital. So we call this as personal social worker. This is also the high demand. And also there is a personal social worker for kids, like for the toddler. So maybe there is a refugees that has some mental issues and they couldn't care of their child, and you do this kind of job. And also I know there's a lot of training related to the personal social worker here in Indonesia. The IOM do the collaboration with some university or some health school here in Indonesia, and then you can join related that one to prove it with the certificate. Because when you apply for this position, mostly the clinic or the company us regarding the certificate. So if you couldn't prove regarding your nursing certificate, at least you have the health certificate related to the personal social worker. So this is two top skills so far. In this year that we have, um, not in this year, 4 months before. It is related to the regular pathway. But if we are talking about the autonomous, so autonomous is quite different. Why it is quite different? Because refugee are seek the company directly in the destination country. So right now we have top country, Australia, that most of the refugee would like to go there and find a company by themselves in Australia. And most of the high skill that they reach out, it is related to the construction labor, related to the welder, tiling, plastering, um, bridge layer, and also stone mention. So this is related to the construction labor.
I got it. Thanks. So just in case, I just want to confirm on that. So there are two types of pathways. One is regular pathway, and another one is autonomous pathway, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So regular pathways, like mostly you guys go through the CRS process. It's like like IT, software, nursing, childcare, caregivers, and these types of things. And in the autonomous pathways, like the refugees directly seek to the company. I mean, like on the other countries, and then they go through that process. But after that, if they try to get the help of CRS, CRS will guide them. All right?
exactly.
Yeah. Thank you. That's clear. So I have the other question, is the sixth question of ours. So how is this program implemented in Indonesia? How it works? Like, does it really have a success rate among the refugees, or is it still need to be created a lot of awareness towards the refugees? Because it's a very good opportunity. Because when I'm talking with you now, I understand that there's a lot of opportunity through this. So we just want to clarify that how success rate that labor mobility pathways are going in Indonesia, especially among refugees.
Yeah, when we are
Yeah.
talking about how that this program implement in Indonesia, I can say this is quite success. So you know what? We start July in 2022, as I explained at the beginning. So in July to 2022, we didn't expect anything about this program, honestly. So that we just want to change the community mindset regarding this program, that this program is not a fake program. And also this is kind of the new hope for you guys related to the resettlement process. I mean, like if you're waiting for the resettlement from UNSCR or you join related to the private sponsorship, so definitely will take time. And also there is a limited quota for you to go through the resettlement countries. But with this program, so this program is quite fast. So this is something that I have to emphasize first. And also this program is related with two skill. You go to the third country with your dignity because you go to the third country not as a as a someone who are really want to get a help from the third country as a humanitarian seeking for the humanitarian visa, but you go to the third country with a skill visa means that you go with your skill, with the skill that you have, and you receive your permanent resident status directly in the third country. So this is a high dignity for refugees, right? So they go there and you work directly. You already know what exactly the work that you will do in the third country. So this is the first thing in 2022. We would like to change the community mindset regarding this program. And then when it comes to 2023, so we only have one target. At least we can resettle one refugees here in Indonesia. So this is what we talked at the beginning in January 2021. But the thing is going so fast, and we prove it to the refugees community that this program only lasts in a year, and definitely those are registered and those are got accepted in 2020 through the 23. 7 of them already resettled to the third country, and it was in 2023. We only helped 1%, but we received 7 people, 6 single men and one 6 single people and one family, like family, his wife and also 2 children. So this is a big success for us in 2023 actually. And right now we are in the 2024. We already have more than 30 cases right now that we are processing and still waiting related to the visa preparations and everything. So yeah, we wish the best for this program in Indonesia, and I think this
That's
is nice implementing, right?
Yeah, it is really good. Thank you so much. Just in case, I know that it is confidential to ask, it should not be asked, but just in case, because most of the recruiters are really curious about these things, can you know about the one family you told about, the right, 6 singles, and one family already having resettled to the other countries, right? So, what is the job, especially on that family, that they have the talent or they applied on that? What is the specific sector that they apply, sector or something?
Okay, so the skill that they have, this is quite various. Uh, uh, two of the skill it is related to the software engineer, and the others, this is related to the construction labor, such as like upholstering, quality control coordinator, and also plastering. And the other one as the officer, like they're working as the supervisor and also coordinator for the employment program. And the last one is related to the
The family.
tailor, sewing,
Oh, the family one?
showing.
The family?
Um,
Yeah,
the
the family?
family, the family, it is a plaster, like
Plaster.
construction
Can you
labor.
clarify what is the construction? Okay, construction.
Construction. This is part of the construction labor, plastering. So
Okay,
plastering is
plastering.
close to the painting things, but this is
Okay.
different from the painting.
Oh, that's really new to me. Thank you. That's really good. So, just one more question from my side, just for a fun question. So, it is just like, do you have any suggestions regarding to refugees, especially, like most of the refugees currently in Indonesia, honestly, a lot of talented kids, especially the talent youngsters. They're about the age of, like 18 and 19. They're really talented. Even I know some of my friends, they're really talented, very well educated. But the problem is they don't have any official documents to, like prove themselves that, okay, they are eligible for this. So what about them? Like, do they have to really go to some other places to get any degrees or something, or like they can even still apply for the sector that they studied on?
Mm-mm. Okay, so regarding the suggestion, related to your question, so there is no way that they have to build their experience, work experience. As I mentioned, this is one of the eligibility requirement and one of the most important requirement that they have to pass related to work experience. So even though that they're a talented person, they have a lot of skill, but there is no any experience, so this is quite hard. What I will
Mhm.
count it as an experience. So that's why I always
Okay.
emphasize to the refugee who received the interview by me. I always mention this is a voluntary work or this is official work. And you have to know when you receive the money, this is not voluntary. You can mention to your organization that you work as a voluntary, but once you got the interview by us and you receive the money, you couldn't say this is voluntary things. This is official work.
Okay.
This is the first one.
Okay.
Related to your question. But if I may add related to the any suggestion, especially for the refugees here in Makassar, I think this is the good thing that I have to mention here. It is related the current issues is coming up in your community in Makassar. I know there is a lot of refugees in Makassar that has a lot of connection in Australia. So they try their best to go through the autonomous pathway. And a few of them are listened to the other refugee who already received a job. But still those refugee who got offer, they're still in Indonesia. They're still in Makassar. So, but most of the refugee are believe what he talk and debate what the officer mentioned. So whatever that I introduce, whatever that I announce officially from my organization related to this program, so means this is the updated information. So you cannot compare your case to your friend case because every case is unique. So maybe in your case, I don't need to ask related a specific question, but for your case, I need to ask more deeply regarding the specific question. So you cannot compare related what kind of a question that I would like to ask. Like you didn't ask this question to this refugee while you asked this question for me. So again, every case is unique. So whatever that I ask, I will not spend my time to ask the question is not related to the interview. It's not related to your case. So definitely the question that I ask, it is related to the case. So this is the first. And the second, it is related to the requirement, especially for the autonomous case. As if you remember last year that we met in the outreach activity, I said the process will start if you receive the third call from our team, from the TBB team, that call the IDM, informed decision making. This will start if you goes through the regular pathway. But if you go through the autonomous pathway, your case still not started yet. Why? The process will start once we receive that your company eligible to sponsoring you to the third country. How that we can find your company are eligible to sponsor you to the third country? By labor agreement status. So your company can submit the labor agreement to the home offer. So if they can submit the labor agreement to the home offer, mean your company are eligible. So regarding the labor agreement, should be discussed after the IDM. So this is very specific thing actually, but your process will be start once we receive that your company are eligible to submit the labor agreement. If still we didn't receive this kind of notification, mean your process still not start. And then less than a year is still not useful, still not less than a year, this is cannot convince with between the regular pathway and the autonomous pathway.
No, that's really wonderful, and thank you so much. And one more question that personally I have, because most of the things, I think most of the people will have the same question. How long does this program, especially if we apply through CRS or labor mobility pathways, how long does it take? What's the most fastest one to resettle, or what is the most slowest one to resettle?
So regarding the process, as I mentioned, when you register yourself, when you try to connect yourself to the company, until you receive the interview by the CRS or the third call by our team in TBB, there is no any timeline related that one. So because we received a lot of requests, and we couldn't promise regarding the timeline related to that one. But one thing for sure, sorry.
Yeah, please take
But
your time.
one
Take
thing
your time.
But one thing for sure, every time that we receive the request from our team in Australia or from the other countries, such as like UK and Canada, we will put the refugee on the schedule. So in the CRS type of interview, we will not mention or will not make appointment related to the interview. So I definitely call the refugee directly and I mention this is your interview time. So this is how the labor mobility work related to the interview system. So once you got the interview, so will be directly, I mean, the process will go in on the timeline. But the timeline, there is no any specific timeline related that one. So the specific one for the regular pathway, will be count less than a year once you receive the third car from our team, like the IDM session. So once you receive the IDM, it inform decision making. So the process is already start less than a year for regular pathway. But for the autonomous pathway, you already receive your IDM, but still we didn't receive the confirmation or the update from the home offer in Australia that your company are eligible to sponsoring you. So in this case, the process will not started yet. But if you already received the confirmation from the Home Affairs that your company are eligible, this is what we call less than a year. So this is two different between regular and the autonomous.
Yeah, okay. That's really wonderful, and thanks. So one more question that's based on us is that how, for example, that you told us already before, wherever there is a skill, there's an opportunity, right? So just want to know that, well, how many skills that usually inside the CRS program, or what are the, like numbers that you guys have, especially on, like providing these types of labor multi pathways?
We have a lot of skill and experience actually, so it's quite hard for me to explain one by one because this is huge.
No,
Uh,
yeah, but just
but
give
you
me a
can check
number, like how many numbers? Yeah. Like how many
numbers.
skills are there? Yeah, how many skills are there, like including your CRSTs? How many
Oh, okay.
skills?
Related to the skill, if we are talking about the skill, we have 169 skill that you can choose in
Yeah.
the TBB website. But related to the occupation, so this is approximately around 89 or 87 occupations, if I'm not mistaken. So this is related to the occupation. So you can choose your occupation first, and then you can put your position like a sub occupation related to your skill and your experience.
Oh, that's really good, and we are really appreciating your time. Thank you so much. I think most of the questions of mine are already done, like because we have. I think I don't know. The time is also already long or something. We're sorry if it's late, but we really appreciate your time, and we are hoping that we are really respecting your time, and we really hope that in future a lot of refugees will apply to CRS, and a lot of refugees will go through this process and get resettled to other countries. Thank you so much. That's really
Uh,
wonderful.
Thank you,
So
Justin.
now
This
I
is a very nice
Yeah, thank
podcast.
you.